Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow. I'm your host, Sergeant John Prine, Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Indianapolis District. Roadshow is brought to you each and every week by the Indiana State Police Alliance and Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the State Police Alliance. For more information about our sponsor, you can visit them at www.indianasfinest.com. We want to thank our great partners at WIBC and MS Communications, BK Brendan King, our good friend of the show who helps get us on the radio waves each and every week across the great state of Indiana. And, of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Tom Trial. This man works harder than anybody, and he works hard to get us on the YouTube channel. So not only can you hear us on the radio, you can see us on YouTube, and we're thankful for his efforts as well. A very, very special guest we have with us today, a longtime friend. I don't even know when I met Sean, but it was a long time ago. But Sergeant Sean O'Keefe.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
And welcome. And we're here to talk about a big milestone, that is you're retiring from the Indiana State Police.
Yes. Yeah. Finally, you during your career, you kind of know when it's time. And that's what I've heard from a lot of retirees, and that's exactly what happened to me.
And you didn't know until you knew.
I didn't know until I knew.
Yeah.
And so it's a new part of next chapter of my life. So
yeah, very cool.
We'll see.
And we're coming up on them. Your last day working as a trooper is going to be October 20th.
That's correct.
And,
so 3 weeks.
It's, what a whirlwind. I can only imagine once that decision's made to get everything in order and everything in line and set a date, and it kind of just has to seem surreal.
Yeah, it kind of is, and I've been a little nostalgic the last few days that have thought about my career, and so it's kind of fitting that we're sitting here talking about that today.
Yeah, and again, 26 and a half years, right?
Yes, correct.
That's a long time, but the chips fell into place. Something came along, and you said, it's time. You can go on and do something else, and you're excited to do that.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your career with the Indiana State Police, because it's been a good one.
Oh, well, thank you.
And let's go back to 53rd? 52nd. I was close.
Yeah.
52nd Indiana State Police Recruit Academy.
5-2.
So let's talk about when it all started for you.
Well, when I was younger, I had thought about being a policeman, but I didn't share that with anybody. My father owned a printing company, so everybody in my family was in printing. And I was kind of the black sheep of the family. I'd worked there during the summers, and I said, this is not for me. And so when I got around to talking to my parents about my decision of what I wanted to do, actually they were heartbroken. My mother was very sad, and the comment that I remember was, "You'll get killed the first day."
Yeah.
And my father said, "You are breaking your mother's heart." But with law enforcement, it's kind of a calling. It's not one of those jobs that you can go in and say, I think I'm going to try this for a little while and see if it's my thing. Most people that come into it have known for a long time that they're drawn to it and that it's what they want to do. And so after I got hired on with the state police and things happened throughout my career, I mean, they were so very proud of me. And you would never know that they had tried to discourage me, but it was a good step for me to understand why they felt that way, and I felt a lot better afterwards when they were very proud of me.
Yeah, and I rewind just real shortly, and you served our country as a United States Marine.
Yes.
And that's got to be something you're proud of as well. But after high school, you go to the Marine Corps. How old were you when you came on the state police?
I was 29, actually, when I came on the state police, because I was in the Marine Corps. It's kind of funny. My 21st birthday was while I was in boot camp, and my 30th, my 29th birthday was when I was in the academy. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, a lot of people have good stories on their 21st birthday, but mine was not going out and having a party.
I'm not going to dig into it, but in Sean's military career, he was a part of some pretty big deals. Some of the stories I've heard are pretty impressive, but we're here to talk about your Indiana State Police career.
Right.
And so did you go to Pendleton as a rookie?
Yes, I did.
And where were you from originally?
I grew up on the south side of Indianapolis.
Okay.
And so that was my first choice. You get 3 choices in the academy.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they told us where we were going, they told me I was going to Pendleton. I was like, where the heck is Pendleton?
Yeah.
I really wasn't familiar with it, but I went there, and it was some of the greatest times that I've had on the department, and some of the greatest times of my life, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was. And I'm an old Pendleton guy, too. I went to Pendleton in 2005, and Sean was already there, and got a chance to get to know him and his wife. His wife was an employee at the Pendleton District, and,
Yes.
and now an employee in our at the Indianapolis District, kind of as an
Right.
evidence clerk. But you met your wife through the Indiana State Police.
Yeah, I did. She was a dispatcher, and so we kind of got to know each other through work and stuff, and it worked out very nice.
Yeah, yeah. And you have 3 children, and
Yes.
I've had a chance to meet all 3, and they're very, very respectable young people, and you should be really proud.
Well, I appreciate that. When I went to the academy, my son had just been born. He was born in December of '94. And so it was a little tough leaving him at that time. So that's all that my kids have ever known is their dad is a state trooper. And so this is going to be certainly an interesting change for them. But my son, he really wasn't very interested in school, but he progressed and went through and graduated Ball State, and then went to Ole Miss and got a master's degree. So I was pretty proud of him. My middle daughter is just turned 24. Her name's Ashley, and she has Down syndrome. So I've been fortunate to be involved in the Down syndrome community locally and nationally, advocating for rights for people with disabilities.
And I've also had an opportunity to work with Ashley on some Indiana Special Olympics stuff, and I'll tell you, she is so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
She is a blast.
She is a very, very determined individual, and she likes to take control of the situation and let you know that she's the boss. So.
Yeah, that's great. And then, of course, your youngest daughter's in college now.
Yes, my youngest daughter is she's getting her basics through Ivy Tech and then transferring to Ball State soon to go into teaching, which is another thing that I never thought that my youngest would do. So
well,
they kind of surprise you.
That's really cool. And, like most dads, every time, Sean and I had a chance to catch up, it was often, what are your kids doing? How are your kids doing? And so we kind of all follow each other's children as they grow up. So it's kind of cool to hear the stories and get the updates as well. So go back to you're a rookie at the Pendleton District. What are some of the early things that you got involved in as far as specialties or things like that?
Well, back then, the new guy got stuck on the TIP team, which was the Tactical Intervention Platoon. And so that was one of the first things that happened is somebody who had been on it for years just gave you their gear and said, hey, good luck. Yeah. I'm finally off of it.
Yeah, here's your car keys and your TIP gear, right?
Exactly. So had several call-outs for things while I was on TIP. And then one of the memories that I have the most is that I used to be assigned to the night before detail for the 500. So that was a yearly thing, and back in those days, the atmosphere was a little bit different. People were
they were there for the party and didn't know much about the race.
Yes, exactly. They were there for the party. So, but one of the things is that if you ended up going to jail, it's like you were begging to go to jail because we were pretty lenient back in those days.
Yeah, those that ask for attention get it, right?
Exactly.
Right. So spent a lot of years on TIP, and then as your career progressed, you spent most of your career patrolling Hancock County. Is that right?
No, I was in Madison County.
I forgot. Yeah, Killer
I was in Madison County.
Yeah, Killer was your supervisor.
Killer was
for a long
my
time.
supervisor. The first day that I got to the post, he took me out in front of the post, and he pointed at cars and said, is that guy wanted? I don't know. Is that guy suspended as they drove by? Don't know. Because, son, the only way you're going to know is if you stop them. So that was his philosophy.
Yeah.
You stop him and talk to him, and you find out what's going on and treat him fairly. Yeah. He was a very good squad sergeant, and people either loved him or hated him.
Yeah.
He was very loyal to his people, but he also spoke his mind.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And then as your career progresses, you have the opportunity to put in for a corporal position at Pendleton, and so you spend a little time as corporal. Is that correct?
That is correct. Back in those days, the corporal was more of assistant squad leader.
Mm-hmm.
So you were learning the job of squad sergeant and helping the squad sergeant with scheduling and evaluations and things like that. And then they kind of changed the role of the corporal, and actually were doing away with it. And so it got down to about 17 corporals at a time. And then they came up with the concept to realign the post and have regional dispatch centers and assign corporals to those. So I was actually caught up in that and transferred to the Indianapolis post at that time, which ended up being a blessing for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and like you, I was caught up in that as well, and didn't know what to expect going to the district, but I came with open eyes and an open heart, and it worked out, right?
Right. Yeah, I made a lot of good friends that I probably wouldn't have made had I stayed in the Pendleton district.
And then a squad sergeant's job becomes available in, 2011?
2012 is
12?
when I got promoted.
And you put in and were successfully promoted. And so talk about just kind of some of the challenges that you faced and some of the rewarding things that have come with being a supervisor of a squad assigned to the Indianapolis district.
Well, one of the things that I tell new people that come to my squad is, or especially the POs, that your squad sergeant's kind of like your dad, kind of like your priest. He's kind of like your best friend. He's kind of like your counselor, and he's your disciplinarian when needed.
Yeah.
So we kind of have to learn the ins and outs of different personalities, and I mean, you can't just go into it with one size fits all supervision, because that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And so you kind of learn the strengths and weaknesses of your subordinates, and learn about their families, and that's very rewarding.
Yeah.
As you go along in your career.
And that frontline supervisor position is such an important position, because you're right, not everybody has the same personality. Not everybody has the same motivations. Not everybody has the same work ethic. And finding a way to make it all work for each other, for a squad, not just for personal reasons, but to better the citizens who expect that service.
Right, exactly. And some people need more attention and focus than others, but my philosophy is get out of their way. I learned this from Killer. Get out of their way and let them work.
Yeah.
And they're going to go out there and produce and do a better job than if you're standing over their shoulder saying, don't do this, do it this way. I think that'd be better. And that's what I've kind of learned over the years.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you hear Sean reference Killer, that's the late Bob Kowalski. And,
That's
I didn't even know Bob was his real name until I had known him for 7 or 8 years, because everybody, whether it was on the department or in his town, in his community, they only knew him as Killer. And I don't even know where his nickname came from. We probably don't have time to go into that.
No, probably not.
But anyway, that's who he keeps referring to. Sean, we got about a minute and a half here. You want to give thanks to a few people maybe throughout your career that have been there, that have really helped shape you and get you to where you are today?
Yeah, there's been a few. Of course, I've mentioned Killer, but some of the people that I got the most support and encouragement from was John Smithers and Jeff Payne.
Yeah.
Both of those people encouraged me throughout the years to advance my career and to become the best squad sergeant that I could be, and I certainly appreciate them.
Yeah. Well, Sean, it's certainly been an honor to get to know you, to work with you, to know you and your wife and your family, and have those opportunities and advice. He's a brand new trooper standing in front of you, and you got one chance to give him some advice for his career. What do you tell him? Or her?
Never underestimate yourself. Sometimes you're going to be put in a situation that you never, ever dreamed that you would be in, and you will perform based on your training. And
I've got 30 seconds. I forgot to mention, I'm glad you brought that up, but early in your career, you had a heroic save. A car was caught on fire, somebody trapped inside. You kicked through the back glass, pulled the person out, saved their lives without question. And that story was actually featured on Real Stories of the Highway Patrol. Am I correct?
That is correct, and I was named National Trooper of the Year for that. So I'm very proud of that also.
Amazing. Well, thank you for your service, Sergeant Sean O'Keefe, Indiana State Police. We appreciate you.
Thanks.